Welcome students to the TYBSc class. I, Mrs. Vaishali, today I am going to teach you theory paper 4, that is immunology. The first topic of this paper is immunity, the definition and classification. The learning objectives of this lecture are: after the lecture, the student should be able to define immunity, explain the types of immunity, that is innate immunity and adaptive immunity. In addition to this, the student should be able to say the factors on which the innate immunity depends, like the physical, mechanical, cellular, biochemical, genetic factors and the miscellaneous factors. So let us start with the definition of immunity. Immunity basically means a state of protection from infectious diseases. This word immunity has been derived from the Latin word immunis, which means exemption. It was initially used for soldiers who were exempted from paying taxes. In medicine, immunity means resistance of host to invasive pathogen. It was used for smallpox or for plague. It can be defined as all those physiological mechanisms that endow the animal with the capacity to recognize materials as foreign to itself and to neutralize, eliminate or metabolize them with or without injury to its own tissue. Or in other words, it can be defined as the resistance exhibited by the host towards infection caused by microorganisms and their products like the toxins. Immunity can be divided into two different types, mainly innate immunity and acquired immunity. Innate immunity is also called as native immunity or inborn immunity, while acquired immunity is the immunity that develops in a person when the person comes in contact with the antigen. Let us study in detail today the innate type of immunity, which is also called as the native immunity. This type of immunity basically is non-specific type of immunity. Human body is a battlefield in which the microorganisms and the cells of the body are continuously fighting with each other. In innate immunity, there are various different factors that contribute to this type of immunity. The first factors are the physical and the mechanical barriers. The second are the cellular factors. The next are the biochemical factors, the genetic factors, and as well as the miscellaneous or the other factors. We shall study these factors in detail. So, we will start with the physical or the mechanical barriers, which include the skin. Every person, may be a human or an animal, the entire body is covered with skin. This skin, when it is intact, it prevents entry of microorganisms in the body. In addition, the skin contains an outer horny layer called as the stratum corneum. This stratum corneum has an ability to produce keratin, right? And this keratin helps in preventing the growth of microorganisms. The stratum corneum is made up of around 100 layers of cells which have an ability to produce the keratin. The second important physical barrier is the mucous membrane. This mucous membrane is the membrane that lines all the passages in the body. Every tract in the body is covered with mucus. Specialized type of cells called as the goblet cells are the cells that secrete mucus. This mucus that is secreted by the goblet cells is a viscous fluid and lies on the surface of the tracts. Being viscous in nature, This fluid traps the microorganisms and prevents their binding to the different tracts and thus prevents the infection. The other barriers include cilia. The respiratory tract and the fallopian tube in the females are the ones that are lined by a special type of epithelial cells which are referred to as the ciliated epithelial cells, which contain hair-like structures on the surface. These small hair-like structures have an ability to move in the forward and the backward direction, and because of the continuous movement of the cilia, the pathogen cannot bind to the cells. The cuffing action, which may be a voluntary or an involuntary action of a person, is an action which leads to the expel of microorganisms from the throat. Any irritation that is caused to the throat leads to cuffing. This is forceful release of air from the lungs towards the outside. And because of this action, microorganisms present in the throat can be eliminated. Similarly, a person usually sneezes when there is some irritation that is caused in the nasal cavity. This irritation leads to the involuntary action of sneezing, which expels a number of organisms that may be present in the nasal cavity. In addition to this, the nasal cavity is lined by small hair which form a sieve and thus prevent the entry of microorganisms in the body. Peristaltic movements are the movements that occur in the intestine in which there is contraction and relaxation of the smooth muscles of the intestine which help to pump the food in the forward direction. But if any microorganisms are present in the intestine, these microorganisms will also be pushed in the forward direction along with the food, thus preventing their binding to the intestinal surface and thus preventing infection. The washing action of tears, urine and saliva is also a barrier which prevents entry of pathogen. Any irritation that is caused to the eye leads to the tears. These tears wash the eye and help in removing any foreign particle that is present in the eye. Similarly, the forceful release of the urine from the urinary tract is a mechanism in which the microorganisms are washed off from the urinary tract. The oral cavity is continuously flooded with the saliva. This saliva, which floods the oral cavity continuously, washes off the microorganisms from the oral cavity, preventing the infection. The next factors are the cellular factors. Two types of cells mainly participate in the innate immunity. One type of cells are the phagocytic cells and the second type of cells are the killer cells. The phagocytic cells are of two types. One is the polymorphonuclear leukocytes, which are also called as the macrophages, which include the WBCs that are circulating in the blood. The main type of polymorphonuclear leukocyte is the neutrophils. These are highly phagocytic leukocytes and are the first cells to appear at the site of infection. The second type of cells are the eosinophils, which are usually involved in allergic reactions. Along with allergic reaction, these cells also cause protection against the parasitic worms or the helminths. The third type of cells are the basophils, which are also included in the allergic responses and hypersensitive reactions. The second type of phagocytic cells are referred to as the mononuclear leukocytes. Two types of cells are included in mononuclear leukocytes, which include the monocytes, which are circulating in the blood. These are tiny cells or small cells that circulate in the blood for approximately 24 hours. After 24 hours, these cells come out of the vascular system and they differentiate into the macrophages. These macrophages are long-lived cells in the tissues. They are more complex than the monocytes and are highly phagocytic cells. The other cells are the killer cells, which are also called as the natural killer cells or the large granular lymphocytes, which are abbreviated as the LGLs. These are non-phagocytic cells which have an inbuilt capacity of killing the target cells. These cells usually kill the tumor cells and the virally infected cells without causing any damage to the natural cells or the non-infected cells or the normal cells. No antigen binding is required for the activation of these cells and therefore they are referred to as the natural killer cells. The next factors of innate immunity are the biochemical factors. Various biochemical factors contribute to innate immunity, which include secretions of the skin, that is the sweat and the sebum. The sweat glands in the skin secrete sweat which contains high concentration of sodium chloride, and the pH of the sweat is also very low, that is 5.5. This high salt concentration and low pH of the sweat is not favorable for the growth of most of the microorganisms and thus they get killed because of sweat. Sebum is the secretion of the sebaceous glands in the skin which contains fatty acids which possess antibacterial as well as antifungal properties. Next is the secretions of the digestive tract, mainly the hydrochloric acid that is secreted by the oxyntic cells of the stomach. Hydrochloric acid that is secreted helps to maintain the pH of the stomach between 1 to 3, an optimum pH of 2. This very low pH in the stomach is not favorable for the growth of microorganisms and thus all the organisms they get killed at this pH value. Next are the nasal secretions which contains mucopolysaccharides, and these mucopolysaccharides have an ability to inactivate the viruses, thus preventing infection caused by viruses. The other biochemical factor is the semen, which contains spermine and zinc. Both spermine and zinc are bactericidal agents and help killing the bacteria. The other biochemical factors include secretions of the body like the milk, which contains lactoferritin, which is an antimicrobial agent and acts by chelating with iron, making the iron unavailable for the growth of pathogens. It also contains lysozyme, which has an ability to act on the cell wall of gram-positive bacteria, causing the lysis of bacteria. The cytokines like the tumor necrosis factor alpha, which is responsible for the necrosis of the cells, and interferon gamma, which has an ability to interfere with viral multiplication, are also present along with other cytokines in the milk. The tears are a secretions of the body as well as the saliva, which is also a secretion of the body. Both tears and saliva contain the enzyme lysozyme acting on gram-positive bacteria, causing their lysis, thus preventing infections. The plasma proteins are one of the factors that contribute to innate immunity, which include the interferons, These interferons are basically antiviral substances. They are non-toxic glycoproteins and they exhibit their antiviral activity by blocking the viral mRNA. These interferons are produced before the antibody production takes place and before the activity of natural killer cells takes place. The complement is another plasma proteins. There are 19 different soluble proteins that are present in the plasma which act in the complements as complement. The activation of this complement system leads to increased action of phagocytosis by the phagocytic cells, thus causing destruction of the microbes. The complement also helps in stimulating the inflammatory response. The next plasma proteins are the propertines. These propertines usually work along with the complement and magnesium ions and they lead to the lysis of gram-negative bacteria and they also have an ability to inactivate the viruses. The acute phase proteins are the plasma proteins which increase in concentration very rapidly in infections. The main function of these plasma proteins is protection, to prevent the spread of infection and to heal the wound that may be caused because of the infection. These include the C-reactive proteins, the fibrinogen and the transferrin proteins. In addition to this, the microorganisms that are the natural flora of the body also contribute to innate immunity. For example, E. coli is the common inhabitant of the colon and has an ability to secrete colicins which are antibacterial agents, thus prevents the growth of pathogenic E. coli and other coliform organisms. Lactobacilli that are present in the vagina have an ability to produce lactic acid which reduce the pH in the vagina, thus preventing the infection. Anaerobic bacteria are present in the colon in large numbers and these bacteria make the environment unfavorable for the growth of other pathogens, thus preventing their growth. Our mouth contains a large number of streptococci and these streptococci have an ability to produce hydrogen peroxide which is toxic for the growth of many pathogens. The other factors on which innate immunity is dependent are the genetic factors. Innate immunity differs at different levels like at the level of species, race and individual. So we have the species immunity which is resistance to a pathogen shown by all members of a species. Many human pathogens do not infect animals. For example, animals are naturally immune to infections caused by Salmonella typhi and Vibrio cholerae while humans are not resistant. The second type of immunity is the racial immunity in which within a species different races show difference in susceptibility to infection. For example, the Algerian race of sheep are resistant to anthrax while ordinary domestic race of sheep is susceptible to it. The third level of immunity is the individual immunity. In individual immunity, it is difference in immunity exhibited by different individuals. For example, in a race, for example, some individuals would entirely escape certain infection while others may develop the infection. For example, what is going on nowadays is the COVID-19. Many people get exposed to the virus, but some show symptoms and suffer from infection, while other human beings do not suffer from infection even if they are exposed to the virus. The miscellaneous factors include the age. Age of an individual is important factor of innate immunity. The two extremes of life carry higher susceptibility to infection. That is, the infants in which the immune system is weak and the old people in whom the immune system has undergone some wear and tear, right? And therefore infants and old people are more susceptible to the infections while the adults are not. The body temperature is one of the factors of innate immunity because usually the body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius, but when an pathogen enters into the body and has to cause an infection, the temperature of the body increases. In normal terms, we say there is fever, and this fever is a mechanism to arrest the growth of the pathogen. Because most of the pathogens, human pathogens, have an ability to grow well at 37 degrees Celsius. Inflammation is another factor of innate immunity, which is basically a biological response of the body tissue to harmful stimuli such as of pathogens, damaged cells or irritants, and it is usually a protective response which includes the immune cells, blood vessels and the molecular mediators. These are some of the references that I have used for this lecture. Thank you.